how do you pronounce the name of this Pokemon? Is it Giratina with a J or Giratina with a G? Before I say anything else, let me know what you think down in the comments, and we'll see who's right in the end. So this all started because a viewer decided to grill me, roast me alive in the comments section. Here's what they said. What the Tauros dung is a Giratina? I know what a Giratina is, but Giratina, is that a fusion of Giratina and Jirachi? Okay, so I immediately went to Google. I looked this up, and Google did agree with the viewer at first. Let me play it back.
Giratina.
Wait, are we sure?
Giratina.
Okay, so it sounds like a hard G sound, Giratina. I'm wrong. But it's not so simple. I know that the Japanese is Giratina. In fact, if you look at the 𝗚𝗶𝗿𝘁𝗶 article, you can very clearly see it written in hiragana. But what's interesting to me is that I think this is a transliteration. They took a word from another language and put it into Japanese, where it would make that kind of hard G sound. But I also think it's wrong. Hot take. I think it's actually Giratina, and I'm going to prove it. Anyone familiar with the Italian language might have heard of the word girare, which means to turn. And this word is very important because it derives from the same root as the word gyre in English. Gyre? What's a gyre? I've never heard of the word gyre, except in this famous poem. If you've studied any English literature, you should know about this. It's a poem about the end of the world. And that was the inspiration for Giratina. Okay, so the poem is called The Second Coming, and it's by William Butler Yeats. I'm going to read the most famous part of the poem. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. This poem is famous largely because of its very powerful imagery, describing the arrival of an anti-god, an evil being that brings about the apocalypse. And this poem is the inspiration for Giratina. But what's a gyre? Well, a gyre is a spiral. It comes from Old Greek and Latin roots, which would make sense why it wouldn't transliterate well into Japanese. Hard G's and soft G's are pretty common casualties in various languages, and even within a language you might see it change depending on what sound comes first, for example. Now, it's, I think, pretty clear to see that Giratina came from this poem. First of all, the kind of evil being, the anti-god aspect. Arceus is considered the god Pokemon in the Pokemon universe, and Giratina is often portrayed as the antithesis of Arceus. In the game Arceus Legends, Giratina is the big bad, faces off against Arceus. We also see this happen in the Jewel of Life, where Giratina comes to confront Arceus. They are not the best of friends. But also another aspect of the poem is critical. The spiral, the gyre. Not only does Giratina appear in a purple swirling vortex of energy, a spiral, but its dominion is the reverse world, a turned world. Girare, which is very close to the Latin verb that meant the same thing, to turn. Giratina is the turned Pokemon, which is another pun that we see a lot in Japanese. It's both the reverse Pokemon, the reverse world, and the evil Pokemon, the anti-god Pokemon. Because of Giratina's really powerful and interesting origins, I mean, it's a Pokemon that came from a poem about the apocalypse. That's kind of awesome. I think that Giratina, with a J sound, much like the word gyre, is also an appropriate way to pronounce the Pokemon. But I don't think either of us are really wrong here. For example, let's take the Pokemon Charmander. In English, Charmander is a combination of the word charcoal and salamander. Charmander. Pretty simple play on words. But in Japanese, the pun goes even deeper. Charmander's name, Hitokage, can just mean salamander, or it could be a play on words for hi meaning fire and tokage meaning lizard. So it could be salamander or fire lizard. It's the same pun in Japanese, but I think even deeper, even more awesome. That being said, we don't say Hitokage. In English, we say Charmander. You have to remember that Pokemon are pronounced in so many different languages, all across the world in many different accents. I think whether you say Giratina or Giratina, they're both completely fair. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Were you right? Were you wrong? Do you agree that it's pronounced every possible way, or are you pretty darn sure that your way is correct? Let me know. For now, I'll probably say Giratina, but maybe I'll mix it up.